In this video, we'll dive into the life and legacy of one of the most mysterious and fascinating figures in ancient Egyptian history, the king known as Narmer. Thanks to the discovery of a remarkable ceremonial palette bearing his name and image, Narmer is among the most well-known rulers of early Egyptian history. Although his status as the first king of Egypt's first dynasty remains debated, excavations conducted at Abydos in 1985 by the German Archaeological Institute appear to support this claim. There, archaeologists uncovered a clay seal impression listing the succession of the first 5 kings and 1 queen of Dynasty 1, with Narmer at the top. This finding strongly reinforces the long-held theory that Narmer was the legendary Menes, identified by the Egyptian priest Manetho in his History of Egypt. It should be noted, though, that not all agree with this. Others argue that Narmer's apparent successor, Hor-Aha, whose reign shows greater evidence of an organized state and who appears second on the Abydos king list after a figure named Mene, may actually be the historical Menes described by later sources. While the name Menes never appears in contemporary inscriptions, it's generally believed to be a later, possibly symbolic, title retroactively assigned to Egypt's founding king. Whether that was Narmer or Aha remains a matter of interpretation. We can cover this in more detail in another video. But let's go with the current consensus that Narmer and Menes were indeed the same person. According to much later written sources, among them Manetho, Menes is said to have reigned for 30, 60, or 62 years, and to have united the 2 lands of Upper and Lower Egypt. Manetho also claims that Menes met his end after being attacked by a hippopotamus. Writing in the 5th century BC, the Greek historian Herodotus reported that Menes founded the city of Memphis. Whether any of this information truly pertains to Narmer is uncertain. The historical Narmer is believed to have lived around 3100 BC, whereas Manetho wrote roughly 2800 years later, and Herodotus some 2650 years after Narmer's time, making both sources closer to our own day than to Narmer himself. What we do know is that the ancient Egyptians regarded a king named Mene as the first ruler of a united Egypt. His name appears on both the Abydos king list as well as the Turin canon. Most scholars believe that this name, generally translated as "he who endures," may simply be one of Narmer's titles. The name Mene, enclosed within a cartouche, doesn't appear in the historical record before Egypt's 18th dynasty. While there's archaeological evidence for several kings of parts of Egypt who preceded Narmer, none of them are mentioned in ancient Egyptian written sources. From the perspective of the ancient Egyptians, then, history effectively began with Narmer and the unification of Egypt. Narmer's name is written using the hieroglyphs for a catfish and a chisel, yielding the common reading Narmer based on the rebus principle. This has been loosely translated as raging catfish, though scholars disagree on the precise meaning, especially on the adjective, which could mean fierce, angry, or menacing. The so-called Narmer palette was discovered in a deposit within the temple precinct of the ancient city of Hierakonpolis, originally known as Nekhen and located about 80 kilometers south of the once great city of Thebes, modern Luxor, Egypt. On one side, Narmer, wearing the white crown of Upper Egypt, is depicted preparing to strike a defeated enemy. On the reverse, Narmer wears the red crown of Lower Egypt as he surveys 2 rows of decapitated enemies. Until recently, the general consensus among Egyptologists was that the Narmer palette records the conquest of Lower Egypt by Upper Egypt. However, Archaeological research in the Nile Delta has led some scholars to suggest alternative interpretations, that the palette may actually commemorate victories over desert tribesmen, such as invading Libyans in the western delta, or perhaps rebels in Lower Egypt. A decorated Macehead bearing Narmer's name, found in the same deposit as the Narmer palette, appears to depict ritual scenes associated with the Heb Seb, or Jubilee Festival of Renewal. In this context, Narmer is shown seated and wearing the red crown of Lower Egypt. An alternative interpretation suggests that the scene represents a royal wedding ceremony, possibly between Narmer and Neith-hotep, a woman of high status. Given that Neith was a goddess associated with Lower Egypt, it's likely that Neith-hotep came from the Delta region. Narmer's name is the earliest known royal name discovered at Saqqara. It was found inscribed on a bowl in a deposit of stone vessels beneath Djoser's step pyramid. Based primarily on archaeological evidence, Narmer's rule is believed to have encompassed Upper Egypt, particularly the Thinite region near Abydos, and extended northward into Lower Egypt, including the Nile Delta. This makes Narmer the earliest known ruler to exercise centralized authority over a unified Egyptian state, stretching from the First Cataract near modern Aswan to the Mediterranean Sea. There's also evidence suggesting that his influence reached beyond Egypt's borders into neighboring Canaan, likely through trade, diplomacy, or perhaps even a military expedition to acquire resources. Narmer's name on various artifacts has been discovered at several sites in modern-day Israel and the Palestinian territories, including Tel Arad, Tel Lod, En Besor, and Tel Irani. This suggests Egyptian contact and perhaps even a presence in the southern Levant during his reign. Narmer's legacy is that of a unifier, state builder, and founder of the Egyptian pharaonic tradition. His reign marked the dawn of dynastic Egypt and laid the ideological and political foundations upon which one of the world's greatest ancient civilizations would rise. According to the consensus among Egyptologists, Narmer's kingdom was inherited by his son, Hor-Aha, or simply Aha. But more on him and other rulers and interesting personalities of ancient Egypt in future programs. Thanks for watching. I'd also like to thank the channel's patrons for making videos like this possible. These include, but are certainly not limited to, GrandKick69, Yap de Graaf, Pasta Frola, Michael Lewis, Daniel Allen, Danny Van Eck, WenXTV, Robert Morgan, Strobex, Frank, Tim Lane, Sebastian Notaro Korea, Michael Trudell, Leader Titan, Micah G, John Scarberry, Andrew Bomer, Connor Dolson, Krish, David R, Stephen Ball, Gabe, Monty Grimes, Franz Robbins, Cyrus Mir, Diane Astra, Nimrod Nir, Hypnosan, Brendan Redman, Faridun Dadachanji, Jimmy Daruwala, Anahita Debu, Gulistan Debu, Sherkam, Farhad Kama, and all of the channel's patrons on Patreon for helping to support this and all future content. Check out the benefits to being a Patreon member, and if you'd like to join, feel free to click the link in the video description. You can also follow History with Sai on Instagram, Facebook, and X, formerly known as Twitter, as well as continue to listen to special audio programs on the History with Sai podcast. Thanks again, and stay safe.